This is just a disclaimer, guys. My recording software is not cooperating with me at this point in time. So, unfortunately, I am forced to make this episode of Returning Does Sports via audio. Now, I am sorting out the issue, and by the next episode, this should be fully sorted out. But nonetheless, enjoy the episode. Leave a like on the channel, subscribe to the channel if you like rugby and sports commentary. 3 words, folks. Unfortunately, again, 3 words, 3 simple words, but they mean a lot in the context of this game. Scared, inconsistent, and anonymous. Now, the Springboks versus New Zealand at Eden Park was one of the most frustrating games of rugby that I have ever watched. From the weather, how the ref conducted himself, the players, it was just all around frustrating. Now, I didn't release this yesterday, so I can, number one, calm down because I was in a very vexed state yesterday, and coming on camera was just not going to be a great look. And second, I wanted to figure out exactly what went wrong with the game. So I went back and I rewatched the game for a second time, and then I rewatched it a third time in key moments. Now, before we get into this breakdown on how the Springboks choked the opportunity on being able to defeat the All Blacks at Eden Park, like the video, subscribe to the channel, and be sure to let me know what you guys thought of the game in the comment section below. Subscribe to the channel, and let's keep growing this sports community. Now, I believe that there were 3 main areas of concern in this game, that being the set piece, more specifically the lineouts, our conversion rate, and then also our discipline. Those were the most appalling on the weekend. Firstly, the lineouts, the set pieces. I don't know what needs to be done for our lineout to work again. I don't know if it's Malcolm Marx. I mean, there does need to be some questions asked about Malcolm Marx in terms of what is going on. Why is he in such a slump? Why is he not able to make the lineout function as we know that Malcolm Marx can do? Malcolm Marx has been damn near the best hooker in world rugby for the last 4 or 5 years, along with Cody Taylor and Dan Coles. But what is happening with Malcolm Marx? What is happening within the Springbok hooker camp where they are struggling with getting ball to the jumpers? It's not making sense, but it's not fully on the hooker's fault. Yesterday, after a beautiful passage of play, I'll see if I can get the clip on screen, but after a beautiful passage of play where Andre Pollard gets the ball from in his own half and takes a couple of steps and puts in a beautiful kick, scoring a 50-22, almost getting 60 meters worth of territory into the New Zealand's half of the field, into their 22. We get to the lineout, and for whatever reason, there seems to be some sort of confusion at the lineout. And at this stage of rugby, I would be expecting that the players representing South Africa would know the difference between their calls. I mean, it's not something that is hard to figure out. I mean, from the time you get to around grade 7, you know what your calls are, you know what certain things mean. And the fact that at the international level, for the first time that I've ever seen anyway, in a Springbok jersey, we didn't know what we were doing at the lineout. It's like there was stuttering at the lineout. It was absolutely shocking. And after, it just felt like any kind of momentum we had at that point in time, the territory gain, Pollard kicking well, meant absolutely zilch because we couldn't figure out what we were doing at the lineout. It is absolutely appalling. And I don't know if this is something that can be figured out in a matter of a week. There's certain things that you can fix within a matter of a week, but we've been struggling with the lineout since the Italy game. That's a problem, guys. That is a huge problem, that since the Italy game, we have been struggling with the lineout, and for whatever reason, we are just not able to figure it out. I don't know if this is a thing where we need to just ride out the storm until the end of the Rugby Championship before the autumn test series later on in the year. I don't know what needs to be done, but something needs to be addressed within the lineout and the set pieces. Because we look good in moments, but other moments it's like we don't know how to set for a rolling maul. We don't know how to get safe ball. And I mean, even players like Ruan Norkia, who's the most safe hands when it comes to a lineout for the South Africans, was struggling to get ball in hand. So I don't know. I don't know what happened. To me, it just felt like we were just super disjointed, and that needs to change quickly, because against teams like New Zealand, Ireland, France, we're going to get absolutely battered if we cannot get ball to hand. Now, the second concern for me, and this is the one that for me, this is a big problem, and something that needs to be looked at by the coaches and by the players. The fact that South Africa can enter the New Zealand 22 13 times, and then the New Zealand squad can enter the South African 22 5 times, and yet the average points scored is astonishing. With New Zealand entering the South African 22 5 times, they were averaging 4.2 points every single entry. With South Africa, on the other hand, 13 times, folks, 13 times, South Africa averaged 1.3 points. That is disgusting. That it's a clear sign to show that we are not clinical. We're not consistent by any means. It's not possible. I mean, no, it is possible because it did happen, but it is unlikely in a test match that a team will have this much dominance and then not be able to convert. I mean, we basically outweigh and trump New Zealand in almost every single stat, but somehow we lost this game. As a New Zealand fan, cool, well done, celebrate the win, but there's also questions to be asked about the New Zealand camp. But somehow they were able to convert when they needed to. And that is basically down to the fact that they took their chances when they arose, and South Africa did not. We had more carries than them. We had more territory than them. The game was played 60% of the game was played in the New Zealand half of the field. 60% of the game. And yet somehow we were not able to convert on the 13 times that we entered their 22. That's a problem. We saw something similar against Australia in the first test, where we had about more than 70% of the game being played in the Australian half, but then somehow whenever Australia got into our half, they just kept converting. What is going on that we cannot score tries? Are we lacking creativity? Are we lacking work rate? Are we just being lackadaisical? What is it that we are missing that we cannot get into their half, their 22, and score tries? It's appalling. I mean, you have some of the best finishers in the world on your team. You have Cheslin Colby. You have, whether you like him or not, Willie Leroux, who's one of the best of all time when it comes to assisting in tries. Look it up. Willie Leroux is one of the best. You have players like Grant Williams, who are blitz, who are absolutely fast, who are able to break lines. You have players, and now speaking on a very broad spectrum and not just yesterday's game, but Kirkley Arns, Errol van der Merwe, Damian Willems, Sasha Farmbelingome Zulu, Makazole Mapimpi. Why we have so much firepower? Why can't we score? That is a question for me that I am still trying to rack my brain around. Why can the Springboks not score and not convert? It beats me. And it's something that really frustrates me, because New Zealand did not play that much better than South Africa. Whether you like it or not, South Africa, yes, got beaten, but New Zealand were not as good as what it looks like on the scoreboard. Credit to them though. I'm not shifting any blame away from South Africa, and I will credit New Zealand 100 times. I love New Zealand. If there was any other team in this world that I would support, if I wasn't born in South Africa, I would 100% support New Zealand. Moving on to the third point, our discipline. This has been on my mind for the longest time. The fact that we are giving away so many penalties in the wrong moments where they're either cynical or they're just flat out stupid. They're dumb. Looking over the last 3 test matches, so the two test matches against Australia and now the one over the weekend, South Africa gave away 16 turnovers in the first game against Australia, 15 in the second game against Australia, and then 15 again at Eden Park, totaling up to 46 turnovers, while our opponents only gave away 41 turnovers. That is a 5 turnover difference. It doesn't sound like a lot, but if you really think back to those games, there are key aspects where the turnovers were huge. Notably, that turnover Adi Surveyor made over the weekend when we were on their line, the turnover where Rico Ioane was able to stop Oxenchair from scoring. And that's just one game, mind you. That's just one game. There's more against Australia where we're giving away silly penalties in the middle of the field due to the breakdown, and where Australia is able to gain territory on us. The yellow card by Kwagga Smith, very cynical. The yellow card was deemed correct. It was a good decision by Carl Dixon. Right there on New Zealand's line. And then what happens there? They suck our defense in, they go wide once, and they score. I've given you 3 examples from one game, which could have been avoided, which could have 100% been avoided, but the discipline is poor. I don't know if that's because we're not set up structurally well, if we're not set up to withstand pressure for a long time. I don't know what the case is where our discipline is so poor that we resort to just giving away silly fouls, reaching over the ruck. I mean, I've seen PSTF do that a couple times in the last 3 test matches. For a player of his caliber, I expect significantly more. As a player of his authority and his seniority, is that even a word? His senior status within the team, I would expect him to be leading by example. The discipline needs to change. Otherwise, we can't simply win test matches. It's quite literally impossible. Very much so impossible. And my final point is selection. Selection is big. Now, was I upset about the selection that the coaching staff made over the weekend? No. Could there have been tweaks? 100%. Could Sasha Feinberg-Ngomezulu come off of the bench a lot sooner? Yes. Because when he came off of the bench, whether you like or not, whether you like Sasha or not, we looked a little bit better. We looked a little bit more comfortable with the ball in hand. So now the question is, should Sasha have started the game and Mani come off of the bench, or Mani start, Andre off of the bench? Right now, the 10 jersey is a bit of a headache because it feels like we're playing 2 different styles of rugby, and we have 3 different players. We have Andre Pollard, who kind of epitomizes the DNA of Springbok rugby, the DNA that won us the 2019 World Cup and the 2023 World Cup. And then you have Mani Libok, who is firepower to the max, who is innovation express, and seems like can turn nothing into something very quickly. And then you have Sasha Feinberg and Ngomezulu, who is kind of that middle ground between Mani Lubbock and Andre Pollard. But where his not Achilles heel, but his notable flaw is that he does sometimes force things, but nonetheless he is able to adapt to kind of the Pollard, the quote unquote Pollard style of rugby, as opposed to the Mani Lubbock style, and also able to adapt to the Mani Lubbock style of rugby. So my thing is, what do we do now? Do we play with Pollard and have a very regimented style of rugby that is very forward based, and kind of very, very territorial based? I mean, if you guys noticed in that test match, anytime that we weren't able to cross the gain line off of 3 phases, we just put ball to boot, and just allowed our wingers to get the high ball, and they did great. I knew for a fact that New Zealand was going to struggle under the high ball, and they did. They were getting cooked under the high ball. But nonetheless, do we play like that, or do we play with Mani Lubbock, the quote-unquote Mani Lubbock style, Tony Brown, flair, speed, quote-unquote innovation? I don't know. It's a headache for me right now because we kind of feel lost. This is for the first time in about, since 2018, and maybe I'm hyperbolizing here, but since 2018, where I have felt lost in the way that I feel about the South African squad right now. I feel lost. I really don't know how to feel. It feels like we might be taking a step back. I don't know. That's how it feels to me right now. I don't see the cohesion. I don't see how we're moving forward. And I don't have the answers, honestly. I don't know if maybe we need to relook at the players that are in the current squad. Are they getting too old to be able to be sharp, be alert, be hungry? Do we need to start roping in more of the youngsters? For example, why was players like Vincent Chituka not in the squad? Why? He played well against Italy in those 2 tests, as well as the Barbarians game. I don't know. I really don't know. I really wish that my tone was positive and being able to kind of know what's going to happen. But in all honesty, I have no idea. I have absolutely no idea. And as a Bok fan, that is not very reassuring to me right now. But nonetheless, that is the scoreline, folks, for the Saturday game. New Zealand winning by 24-17 against South Africa at Eden Park, stretching their Eden Park dominance to 51 tests unbeaten since 1994. Now, let me know down in the comment section below, guys, what you guys think about this game. As you can hear, I'm very dejected. I really wish I was positive, but I've not seen anything that makes me positive about the squad right now. But nonetheless, we will still continue to back them. But let me know about how you guys felt about the game. Did you experience the same level of frustration as me? What did you pick up that I might have even not picked up? Let me know down in the comment section below. Make sure that you subscribe to the channel, that you like this video, and that you stick around by subscribing to the channel and stick around for more rugby content and also more other sports. I am planning on covering the Premier League coming up very soon once they get back from the international break. But nonetheless, guys, appreciate you for listening, and that was another episode of Retang Does Sports.